to Dub's Domain. My name is Eli, and I'm joined by my friend and fellow Warriors superfan Nate. In this episode, we'll be responding to the Warriors' navigation of the trade deadline. After that, we'll be giving you some tips on what players to look out for in the next few rounds of March Madness that could really make the difference on our team next year.
All right, let's get started just to talk about Jordan Poole and Nico Mannion, the two guys we brought up from the G League. Two guards, two guys that I see a lot of promise in. And honestly, these past few games, I've gotten really excited about them. Jordan Poole so far is averaging 19.7 points per game, 3 assists on 50% shooting and 41 from three. I mean, that's incredible efficiency from him, who wasn't a very efficient scorer last year, who didn't take the best shots. But, so far this year is really coming in since back from the G League and getting these stats. And it's pretty impressive. And I'm really excited to see what he can offer, especially with Curry coming back pretty soon, going back to the bench role. I think he thrives more on the bench role, even coming in as that sixth man, leading the second unit. And he has cooled off a little bit these past 3 games, but it's been really exciting to see nonetheless. And I'm excited for him to keep going like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely been super exciting to see Jordan Poole flourish in this role since coming back from the G League. I personally was not super happy when we drafted him. I know that we could have taken Bol, who I was much more high on, still probably am more high on, but the last 10 or so games since he's come back from the G League, he has definitely lowered those doubts in my mind. He's really proven himself to me that he can be an excellent scorer, a first through second option off the bench, and he's been super effective and super beneficial.
Yeah, and I think highlighting just the way we have needed a scorer all year on that second unit, he really can be the answer. And not just this year, but I see him being the answer for a lot of years to come if he stays with the Warriors, coming off the bench as a sixth man, especially for the rest of Curry's career. He can be a really effective sixth man, leading our second unit. And I think I mentioned last time, I really see a lot of Jordan Clarkson in him, and I think he can really become something very reminiscent of Jordan Clarkson in his future. So it's pretty exciting. Yeah, we also have Mannion. So far, since coming back from the G League, he's 8 points, 3.3 assists, 2 rebounds in about 20 minutes a game. And this is really what shocked me, 44% from 3, 94 from the line. That is something I did not expect from Nico Mannion at all. I expected him to be a playmaker, Ricky Rubio type of guy, not really shoot the ball very well, not take great shots, but wow, he has been playing really well.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
And you really can feel that 44% from 3 in game. It feels like when he takes a 3, you're like, why are you taking that 3? And then he makes it, and you remember, exactly. Oh, shoot, this guy's been hitting all his threes. And the 94% from free throw, that's amazing, especially for a young guard coming into the league. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, he can really be a leader for sure. He definitely leads, I still see the Ricky Rubio in him, but with a jump shot. Like, that's kind of what I'm excited about, is the playmaker. He's making the right plays, still has to, execute the right plays, more consistently, I think. But just the fact that he can make those right plays this early in his career is really exciting. He's not, fully proven himself, but he has great potential.
Yeah, he has that vision, and that guards coming into this league need to have that vision in order to succeed. And you see that in him sometimes. He just is a little too young, and he isn't experienced enough in the NBA yet to really lead that second unit. But I can see the potential that he will be able to lead that second unit.
Yeah, and I think he can definitely live up to the steal that we've called him. A lot of Warriors fans have said getting him in the second round was a steal, and I think he can live up to it. I think he is living up to it so far. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen for the past few years how while Myers and our front office might not be the greatest at picking in the first round, we seem to always hit on our second round picks.
Oh
Last year it
yeah.
was Pascal. This year, and maybe even Smiley Geach. Who knows? We'll see what happens with Smiley. But this year it was Nico Mannion. And then our other second round pick, Justinian Jessup, he is playing overseas, but he's looked pretty good overseas.
Mm.
So maybe he could come add to our team in the future, but we definitely are able to hit on those second round picks. I mean, the most prime example is Draymond.
Oh yeah. Draymond for sure has been a really great second round pick, and also Pascal, like you said, Mannion now. So yeah, Bob Myers is doing a good job second round for sure. Um, we'll see how Wiseman pans out. I mean, he's still got room to grow. I saw a lot of Warriors fans after these past few games saying Mannion over Wiseman, which I found interesting. I don't really
No,
see that
yeah,
just
that's
potential and raw potential Wiseman has, but I think that's just kind of the hype that Mannion's getting, and I like it. I like that he's
right.
getting, he
Yeah,
deserves
he's
it. He's
getting the
playing well.
respect. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good to see the respect. I also don't like seeing the disrespect to Wiseman. I mean,
yeah,
Warriors fans a lot of the time are really disrespectful. Like, I mean, we were so responsive. I mean, Wanamaker, who's no longer on the team, people roasted him for weeks, for almost the whole year because of how frankly bad he was.
yeah,
Much ended up saving us a bunch of money.
yeah.
One of those moves was the Wanamaker trade. He was sent off to the Charlotte Hornets for cash, basically, and that in turn created a $2.25 million trade exception, which in the future we might be able to use. It's not a huge deal, but Hornets get another point guard with LaMelo being out, and we lose Whataburger.
Yeah. I mean, it was bound to happen. I think if we weren't going to trade him, I think we would have just waived him.
Right.
And especially with Mannion and Poole up here, he was losing minutes, and so I have to say I feel bad for him. Like you were saying, just the horrible things that Warriors fan base has gone after him with. I mean,
Yeah.
he was pretty bad, but he's still a human. I gotta feel bad for him, but
Yeah.
I really do hope he does well on the Hornets. But I mean, the next one we did really made me sad.
Yeah.
Trading.
That it hurt my heart.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw this news, Marquise Chris to the Spurs. Wow, that really did bum me
Yeah.
because he is just such an all around guy. We've seen
Uh-huh.
him on NBC, with Bob and Kalena doing those little sports casting.
Reporter Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good, and you just get the vibe out of him that he's just a really good dude, and he worked hard, and
Yeah.
it's sad for sure.
Yeah. I mean, not all is lost. There is a chance that next year we end up being able to sign him back, but we won't be able to sign him back until free agency because of the rule. There's a rule where you can't sign anyone that you trade away until the next season. So after July 1st, we can re-sign him because the Spurs did end up waiving him because they're like, why do we want this guy on our team who's not going to play for the rest of the year? Um, but yeah, and then in return, you might have seen the name Katie Lalane. It doesn't really mean anything, but he's a member of the Changwon LG Sakers in the Korean Basketball League. He was an all-star this season in that league. That doesn't really mean anything because that
Yeah.
the talent in that season or in that league is significantly lower. But just fun tidbit. And that trade also created a $1.8 million trade exception. So,
Yeah, and as much as it hurts me, I really do understand the move because I
mhm,
mean, really, we're paying him to not do anything on a 1 year
right.
contract.
Yeah,
Um,
the two trades of Wanamaker and um, Marquise Chris ended up saving us $11 million. So,
that's pretty good. I mean,
yeah.
as much as it pains me, I mean, I'd love to see us sign him back next year. I don't know what
Hmm.
the exact odds are, but he's going to come back from that injury. I think he has shown promise as a young 4/5, and I don't know who knows if we'll do that. But these moves not only did they save us a good amount of money and create those trade exceptions, they also created 2 roster spots on our team. Right now we have two-way contract players in Mannion and Juan Toscano Anderson. Who knows? I think there's a chance we might give them real contracts. I'm not sure because of the fact that the league did say that two-way players will be able to play the rest of the season and the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's too likely that we'll give them, full contracts. So in turn, there's potential free agents out there. There's Jeremy Lin. We could give him a contract. He played with our G League team in the bubble. Um, Not that we really need another guard, but we'll see how that goes. And there's also DeMarcus Cousins, who's still on the market. I know he's getting interest from people, interest from the Celtics, I just heard. So we
Yeah.
could bring him back. We could not. We could see who else gets bought out. But right now we have two roster spots, and who knows what we might do with them.
Yeah, I really do. I think the news right now is that the Warriors are leaning towards giving Toscano Anderson at least one of the spots. Which I mean, I would be happy about. There's not really a ton of other free agents I'm interested in. You know, Jeremy Lin would be cool just to bring him back to the Warriors on a real contract. And he's the veteran guard that he could give some advice and teaching to Mannion and Poole. Wouldn't really do much for us. Boogie would be an interesting experiment to bring him back again. I don't know that it would really matter. And so I think the front office and Lake Up will probably just give Mannion or at
Yeah,
least GTA a contracts and then
yeah.
save the
I
money.
That's definitely I think the most likely, just because there's not really. But who knows? If anyone's going to get bought out, that could be an option later in the season.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. And then I guess the biggest news of that trade deadline was the trade that didn't happen. Kelly Oubre staying with the Warriors for the remainder of this season at least. And then in an interview after the trade deadline passed, someone asked Kerr what he saw in Oubre's future next year if Oubre were to return, and he said that Oubre he would be great to return as a guy off the bench, a sixth man probably, because they would want to run with Curry, Clay, and Wiggins starting.
Yeah.
And then he came out and said he thinks he has a lot more to offer than the bench role. What are your thoughts about that? All that.
I mean, to be honest, that Oubre saying that kind of pains me because maybe it's just me, but it seems like it's him saying he doesn't want to come off the bench. That's kind of what I can
Right.
get from that. Um, which also means I think there's a really solid chance that he won't come back next year. Even if, I mean, we don't even know if the front office wants to bring him back. Kerr has said that, but ultimately the decision's up to Bob Myers and Lake Up and
Mm-hmm.
such. And even if we did, he doesn't want to come off the bench, and Kelly Oubre's not starting over Andrew Wiggins or Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
And it could end up be that we could have traded him for something, and he might walk away, and that kind of makes me a bit frustrated because the Warriors really didn't make any big flashy moves. Bob Myers came out a couple weeks ago, said that we would be aggressive at the trade deadline. That didn't happen. Kelly Oubre is still
Mm-hmm.
here, and he says there's a chance he leaves. It's a little frustrating. Um, Personally, I hope we can re-sign him. I mean, obviously, unless there's something better we can get, I do hope we re-sign him as a six man. I think our team would be really good with Oubre off the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
frustrating
for
is the
one
best way.
got you. Yeah. Frustrating. Yeah. I for one am a little bit confused as to like it seems like after the trade deadline passed and then Kerr made those comments and reports were coming out that Oubre was staying. It seemed very much like they had come to an agreement that Oubre was going to resign, come off the bench next year, and everything was good, and that's why we didn't trade him because there were reports that there were multiple teams interested in Oubre. Now we have no idea if that's true. We don't know how good the trade offers were. They might have been terrible, but it definitely seemed like, oh, there's some kind of agreement. And then for him to come out and be like, basically say, without saying it out loud, that he doesn't want to come off the bench is definitely confusing to me.
Yeah,
Um, do I think that means he's necessarily going to avoid the Warriors? No. I think he's going to go wherever the money is. And if he thinks he has a home here, which he's talked about before, he wants to find a home, then I think he'll resign. um, regardless of whether or not he wants to come off the bench. He might be frustrated, but if he really does feel like this is his home, then I think that
Yeah,
this is where he'll stay. I mean, we saw that with D'Angelo Russell last year, where he was like, I just want a home. And then we traded him. This time we didn't trade Oubre, which kind of makes me happy as a Warriors fan that we're not like, hey, welcome to our culture. And now you want to stay. Now we're going to kick you out and trade you to another team.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like every time we get a new player, notably Andrew Wiggins, D'Angelo Russell, uh, now Kelly Oubre, it's always when are we going to trade them?
Right.
And these guys, I feel bad for them for sure. Like constantly in trade talks, and Warriors fans, we witnessed it too. The second Kelly Oubre had a bad game, we trade him. The second he has a good game, he's like, I keep him for the rest of his career. I mean, it's so just back and
Right.
forth like a cycle with these guys, and it's not really a place, that free agents might be attracted to. I don't think free agents want to come somewhere where we're constantly trading guys after like half a season and no loyalty. I think there's no way to attract more free agents.
Right.
And there's a pretty good free agent class coming up. Um, so I'm for one, and again, I am happy that we kept him. We didn't trade him for that reason, but I'm not the most happy that he would say doesn't want to come off the bench. So, like you said, confusing, frustrating, interesting. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, interesting little thing that we heard about with Ubre. So I hope it works out.
Yeah, me too. I would hate for us to dedicate ourselves to Oubre and then him to just be like, all right, peace, because he doesn't want to come off the bench, which is a possibility, but I'm hoping it doesn't happen.
All right. Even though the Warriors didn't do much at the trade deadline, there were a lot of really high profile, notable moves that happened around the league. I'm just gonna go through a couple of them, listen to them. Big one, Miami Heat acquire Victor Oladipo from the Rockets
Yeah.
for virtually nothing, which is amazing. They got
Yeah.
Avery
I mean,
Bradley.
just
Go
sorry,
for it.
just think about the fact that like they really just traded Harden for nothing.
Yeah.
They traded Harden essentially for Oladipo, and they traded Oladipo for nothing. So they traded Harden for nothing.
I feel bad for Rockets fans. That's all I can say.
Yes.
Yeah. They got a draft swap, pick swap from the Heat, I guess.
Woohoo!
Yeah, sure. Um, so poor Rockets, Heat looking good. I'm actually excited
Hmm.
to see them play with Oladipo. Another big one, the Raptors sent Norman Powell, the Trailblazers, for Gary Trent and Rodney Hood. That's a very to me,
Interesting
it's a
trade.
win-win trade. Um, so we'll
Yeah,
just see.
it's a win-win, especially for the Raptors. You get basically a younger Norman Powell, and then Rodney Hood you don't really care about, but he can score occasionally. And then the Trailblazers get Norman Powell, who is basically an older Gary Trent, who has a higher ceiling or floor at least for scoring. I mean, he's averaged near 20 points. He won't average that much on the Blazers, but he
Oh
definitely
yeah,
will be a nice scoring
yeah.
boost for
He's
them.
he's definitely just a lift for them, and
Hmm.
so that's a really good trade for both teams. Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets went kind of crazy. They got Aaron
Yes,
Gordon
they did.
and they added JaVale McGee. And
I wanted JaVale McGee for the
I wanted
Warriors.
JaVale McGee too. I love JaVale. But this to me makes the Nuggets like officially real contenders in the West. Um,
Absolutely.
Aaron Gordon is a really good, to me, 3-4 option. I think, on the Magic, he was always around that two, second option behind Vucevic. And I think he wasn't, I mean, he's played well, but I don't think that's his full potential. I think when he's going to get open threes, open dunks, getting set up by Jokic,
Right.
um, he's going to thrive. And that
I
makes
mean,
him
we
really
saw it
good.
last night with Jokic and Gordon. I mean, they looked great.
They did. They looked really good. I'm actually excited to watch the Nuggets just to see what they can do. And also JaVale McGee, just a presence off the bench. They gave up Hartenstein. I mean, who's he? Is the point. Like, never heard of him. So, yeah. I mean, I've heard of him, but anyway.
Yeah.
Um, Another one, Clippers added Rajon Rondo for Lou Williams straight up. I wonder if Lou Williams going to retire now. I don't know. That's what he said he
Yeah,
would
who
do.
knows?
Um, I mean, Clippers got a point guard. That's kind of all they needed. Uh, Besides that, the Celtics get Evan Fournier for virtually nothing. Two second-round
Absolutely.
picks.
They, yeah,
Magic, I don't know what the Magic are doing.
no,
You know,
it was a sad day to be a Magic fan yesterday. Magic and Rockets fans, we apologize.
other than that, there is one more big trade that took place. Actually, multiple big trades for the Chicago Bulls, who happen to be playing the Warriors tonight. The Bulls added Nikola Vucevic from the Magic. Again, what are the Magic doing?
Star.
Yeah, I apologize to the Magic fans. And this is for Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter, and 2 first-round picks, which I think personally is not a bad, horrible trade for the Magic, but I really do think they could have gotten more picks out of
Yes.
Vucevic. I mean, this guy is pretty much in his prime, age 30. Really
Yeah, he's
just
30
getting
years
better.
old, but yeah, exactly what you just said. He's been getting better every single year, and he's still getting better, and he's 30.
Yeah. So he's an all-star. He's really going to push those Bulls, I think, into playoffs easily this year. And maybe, if they get a free agent landing, something like that for years to come, they can be, they can be good. They can be good in the East. They can compete. So
Mm-hmm.
the Bulls really had a steal there, in my opinion. But the Bulls didn't stop there. They also added another big trade here. They got Daniel Tice from the Celtics and Troy Brown Jr. from the Wizards. So this is another trade that, makes the Bulls
A lot better.
deeper. Yeah,
Yeah.
they get a lot better, and they're deeper. They only gave out Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchinson, and so the Bulls are looking kind of scary to me as the Warriors play them tonight. What are your thoughts on how this game might go?
Yeah, so the number one thing that after the Vucevic trade went down was like the Bulls got a lot better. They still don't have anyone who can guard any bigs. Then they got Tice, and I think that addition of Tice is going to be huge for us because we are going to struggle tonight. We continually struggle against good bigs, and we have and they have two great bigs, especially Vucevic, who is one of the best offensive bigs in the league, and we have no one to guard him. So I think Vucevic is going to definitely pop off. Zach LaVine is always going to have a good game. Um, yeah, it's going to be a struggle. We're going to have to basically let Vucevic do what he wants and try and make sure nobody else plays out better than they should. I mean, shout out to Thaddeus Young. He's always going to be the GOAT, but uh, yeah, I don't know how we're going to stop him, but
Yeah, I agree. The Vucevic Tice combo is going to be scary. I think Wiseman, kind of like when Wiseman was guarding Jokic, I think it'll be very similar, just two really skilled big men. And it's going to be rough, especially on Looney, who's not quite as big.
mm-hmm.
Um, I think we need to be able to get rebounds tonight. That'll be the biggest thing. I think Vucevic and Tice both can get those offensive rebounds.
Yeah,
So we'll see how it goes. If they get a bunch of second chances, if they get out running early, hitting those second chance points, I
right.
think we'll be in trouble. But I think if we can
Yeah,
get those rebounds, it's been the problem with our team a lot of the year is getting our bigs to actually go get rebounds. I think we'll be okay, but we'll have to wait
yeah.
and see.
Especially if Curry does play tonight. He was upgraded from out to questionable. He said he thinks he'll play, so hopefully he does play. If he does play, we have a much better chance, um, as always.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. It's definitely going to be a good game for sure. All right. Well, also happening about this time of the year is March Madness, and we're basically a little over halfway through. Where the Elite Eight starts tonight, and ahead of that, we thought we'd give you some insight on who to look out for in these next few games that we could use our Timberwolves pick or even our pick next year to grab them because this upcoming draft is loaded.
Yeah. This is going to be a really solid draft. I'm really excited to see what we can get from this draft. Timberwolves, they're still the worst record in the league. I'm hoping, really hoping, as D'Lo potentially is coming back soon, that they can get, maybe to the fourth. If they get the fourth worst record, we have much better odds of taking their pick. Their pick is
Yeah.
top 3 protected. So if it lands in the top 3, it's theirs. If we can get the 4th to 5th pick, taking a
That
guy
would
like
be insane.
Mobley, taking a guy like Jalen Suggs, who's, in my opinion, my favorite player in the draft right now, from Gonzaga. Chauncey Billups type with Jason Kidd potential. He's a really good distributor, really good shooter. He has intense defensive effort, and honestly, I'm really high on Tugs. I think he's in the Elite Eight with Gonzaga. I think he has a lot of leadership skills on the team as well. I hope he continues to improve. I hope we can draft him. That's my top pick. My hope, but we'll have to see with these rest of these guys and where we get that pick.
Yeah, he definitely would be a great pickup. Another guard, probably would end up replacing either Poole or Mannion. But he really would be another offensive beast off the bench, and he brings a lot of defensive effort. I don't know how much of that defense is going to translate to the NBA, especially his rookie season, but he has the potential. My top pick would be he'll probably end up going a little bit before, but would be Evan Mobley out of USC. He's actually matching up against Jalen Suggs in the Elite Eight as Gonzaga and USC go head to head. He's another 7-footer, can play the 4 or 5. He's been compared to Chris Bosh with rim protection or a quicker, more agile LaMarcus Aldridge. I really hope he would be able to fall to the 4th or below. Chances are he wouldn't. It would just be really interesting to see him and Wiseman play together,
That
especially
would be a
since,
combo for sure.
yeah, they're both good shooters. They both have great rim protecting potential, and Wiseman's a bit better of a rim runner than Mobley, but Mobley plays the 5. It would be crazy to have two mobile 7-footers who have the ability to shoot really well.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty incredible. I mean, I can see Mobley going I think Cade Cunningham is almost the consensus top pick in this draft. But I think
Yeah.
Mobley has a really strong chance of going 2 or 3. If he falls below
Mm-hmm.
4, an amazing pickup. But there's another guy on Gonzaga to pair with Jalen Suggs in this draft. Corey Kispert, I think maybe even a little less known, probably not in the consensus top 5 that people have been talking about. But this guy is a 6'7", 220-pound forward. He's averaging 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 54% from the field, which is just really, really exciting to see. I love an efficient guy coming out of
Yeah.
college. Also 90% from the line and 45 from 3, which is amazing. I mean, we really could use, like you said, a Mobley type guy, or even just a stretch big, a guy who can play the 3 or 4, who can shoot the 3. And that's why he has a lot of potential. Who knows if we, get the top 4 pick or 4 or 5 pick with the Timberwolves pick, we could take him. We could take Suggs. If Mobley falls, we could take him. There's just a lot of options. And that's why this
Right.
draft class is so loaded. And
Yeah.
there's even more that we can go over. Um,
Yeah. I think Kispert is more of an option for if we do end up missing the playoffs and we keep our own pick. I think Kispert would be more of a uh, better option for that pick. Um, but if we get Mobley, Suggs, Cade, and the Timberwolves pick ends up being 6 or 7, and we get all the people that we want off the boards, Kispert wouldn't be a bad fit pick. He would be a pick that we
oh,
would
yeah.
pick for fit, and not necessarily just straight out talent. Um, Another guy still in the tournament from Arkansas, uh, Moses Moody. He's a 6'6" shooting guard. He pretty much is a outright scorer. Joe Johnson-esque. Also been compared to a better Malik Beasley, but he's just another really good scorer out of Arkansas. And then out of Florida State, although Florida State did just get knocked off, this guy definitely has high potential. Scotty Barnes, he's 6'9", can play small forward or power forward. I wanted to bring him up because he's often compared to our very own Draymond. He's not a great shooter, but he's super athletic and he's an excellent defender. And the biggest pro, in my opinion, that he has is his excellent size. He definitely has an NBA ready body. So he would be another excellent addition to the team.
Yeah, both those guys definitely potential for a top pick that we may have with our pick, not even a Timberwolves pick. If we can get a Jalen Suggs, Scotty Barnes combo, I mean, we will be really set for a long time, in my opinion.
Right.
So we'll just see how these 2 picks that we have work out. Obviously, I think we can both agree we'd like to see some competitive Warriors basketball, some playoff basketball. But it won't be the end of the world to me if even we fall off a little bit and get a higher draft pick. I mean, this draft is one of the best we've seen in a long time. So I'm excited.
Me too. All right. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. Thank you so much if you have gotten to this point. We cannot emphasize enough how grateful we are that you listened. It means a lot. If you enjoyed the episode, go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. It'd help us out a bunch. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe, like the video, and share it with friends. Well, guess we'll catch you next time in Dub's Domain.